times have you passed on a vintage or antique sewing machine at a thrift store or an antique store because the wiring looked scary? Now, what's crazy is they're often really cheap because of the wiring, but most of the time, this is such a simple fix. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to safely and easily replace the lead cord in your foot pedal so that you can get your machine going again. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Andy Barney, and I teach the same service, repair, and restoration procedures I use every single day in my professional service shop so that you can learn to care for your own machines and stop relying on someone else. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to easily and safely replace the lead cord on a vintage or antique sewing machine. So let's get started. But this is what a brand new lead cord looks like. It's got the same type of plug in here that you see. It's just different. This is old Bakelite, which is why it's cracked. And this is the tip we're looking for. This is where they connect into your foot pedal. Okay, so this is going to completely replace this lead cord. You can see it's got the plug on one end here, and then the plug that goes into the machine. All right, and this is usually what's a problem. You're only going to need a flathead screwdriver for this repair. And what we're going to do is on the back, we're going to take out, now usually on your foot pedal, you should see 4 rubber pads in these corners. This one doesn't have one. When we take this off, those rubber pads are going to slip off. You're going to take your screwdriver and you're going to gently lift up here on the end. Now you don't want to pry too hard and break the plastic. When this happens, you can slide off the rubber pads that are in the corners, and you're going to lift this part out of the machine. Okay, now we have the inside of the foot pedal. You can do some cleanup. You can see there's actually some dead spiders in here, which is not uncommon. And there's a lot of dirt and debris. You can use, lots and lots of spiders actually, which is really interesting. We can do some cleanup in here, which you can use Q-tips. You can use a paper towel, no chemicals. Do not use chemicals in this part, but you just want to clean out. And then for the real work that we're going to do, you're going to take your screwdriver and you see where these attach. Now, the way that they designed these when they were older is a little different. If you look at how nice and clean and neat the tips are on this, this is a huge improvement from what we had back then. This is basically lamp cord. It's potentially possible that someone rewired this years ago already and just used lamp cord that you can get at the hardware store. But you can see that the wire is bare and it just wrapped around these posts. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure you come from the back. Okay. So your cord is going to come from back here in the back, not up here where the mechanism is. And you're going to have to carefully separate these wires a little bit. And you want to be careful not to tear it, but you just want to make sure that there's enough flexibility for these to move. And we're going to stick, I like to do them so they're flat. I should have mentioned that. What you see here on one side, you'll see the bare wire in the clamp, and then you'll see, I like this to sit flush. So you're going to put them in so that they sit and hold it in place, and go ahead and tighten the screw. Now you don't want to over tighten that screw. It's actually a weird component how that fits, but you want to make sure that when you wiggle this, we're going to get this one in first. You just want to make sure if it gets wiggled that it's not going to lose its connection. That will give you some problems when you're trying to sew. So I'm tightening it down enough so that it might move around a little bit, but it's not going to slip out of there completely. Yeah, so now you can see it won't move. Okay. So that is reconnected. Same thing in here. If you have an air compressor, you might want to blow any dead spiders you have out of your foot pedal case. Specifically on the Bakelite. Now, sometimes these are brown, sometimes they're black, sometimes they're a weird swirl. This little button will fall out. The thing I like is that there's only one way it can go in. If you try to put it in wrong, it won't go in. So all you have to do is put it back in there where it sinks down into being a button. All right. Now we're going to lay this out. The way this goes in, this lever up here meets that button. So all we're going to do is turn this around. You're going to make sure your cord goes through the slot in the back, and you're going to set this in until it's nice and nestled. Okay. And then you're going to put your rubber pads back on. So lift this up slightly, slide your rubber pads back on. I have to replace these when they come in their order. And then we're going to work on putting 4 screws back